Is presence of mind a crutch? Do I just need to get better at managing my mana and start using Triumph? That is what I will answer today. But before we begin, hope you guys are having a good morning, like that. And yeah, let's get started. And we'll start this by just looking at some stats. And as we can see here, in Emerald Plus, currently, on the last patch, it was just a new patch today, Presence of Mind was played in a minority. 16,000 out of 54,000 games were played with Triumph in Emerald Plus, and 16,000 or so were played with Presence of Mind. So just looking at this here, obviously it would seem that Triumph is better, right? Like a lot of sites will tell you to use Triumph, some will tell you to use Presence of Mind, and yeah, we'll answer that today. But again, just interesting to look at the stats here before we proceed, because 360 gold, 540, 180 gold, 320 gold, 420, 180 gold, 520 gold. And not to mention the fact that in a 2v2 situation early game, sometimes you'll kill one enemy and then survive thanks to the heal. So when you just look at this here, you see you get free money, which Presence of Mind doesn't give you, and it can save you from certain scenarios. Obviously looks very good, right? But there's more to it, and we'll look at that today. How many times? Sorry, not today. We're gonna look at that now. But first, quick word from my sponsor. I'm kidding, okay, relax. This video is sponsored by my comment section, because as you all know, I'm currently working on, or hopefully most of you know, I'm working on the biggest Twitch guide that the world has ever seen, conquered, faced, whatever. And I need your help. If you have any cool interactions about Twitch that you can think of, like champion interactions or anything at all, like something really weird and niche, right below. Such as like, if Twitch walks over Shaker Box on a stealth, you will not trigger it. But if they have vision, he will, right? So like anything in general, please write in the comment section below. I greatly appreciate it. And this video is, yeah, sponsor. Thank you. And it can, of course, be anything. But now we're going to look at this play here. And as you can see, and you probably know, I like to run Triumph. But actually, back in the day, like before the changed Presence of Mind, I used to say, whenever I looked at a guide, they didn't have Presence of Mind, everyone would say Triumph. I'd be like, well, they have no idea how to play Twitch. Like, if they don't suggest Presence of Mind, like as a mandatory rune, they have no idea what they're doing. But I do think that the changes made the barrier or requirement or like need for either rune kind of like less. Like you're more justified taking Triumph now than you were before. But just like Triumph will give you a lot of gold, Presence of Mind can too. Of course, Triumph will give you like X amount of gold per kill extra, but there will be cases in early game where you actually might lose out like a kill because you didn't have enough mana. And if you had Presence of Mind, you did. And for the most part, I think you can manage your mana. But in particular situations like this one here, where you're like laning for a very, very long time, you can say I have 1700 gold for whatever reason, right? It can get very bad, right? And this is obviously niche. Like this won't happen all the time, but this is a very good example of it, right? Like if I had Ultima here, like imagine how like better this would be right now. So we'll look at this play here and what happens, because I end up not killing the Tristana here. Probably goes like menacingly in here and goes crazy, and I use my stealth, which you could argue is a mistake, right? But if I had my ulti here, this would have been no problem. Tristana would have been dead, right? But because I didn't have enough mana, you can backtrack this to many things. Like I could have not thrown the W in the wave, I could have not used my Q, whatever. Like I could have managed my mana like better, but like in overall sense, like I managed my mana fine. And in this particular game here, like I would have liked to have gone Presence of Mind. If I knew this scenario would have happened, I would have gone Presence of Mind. Like you cannot not use any spells at all, and you will obviously have to use some, right? So that is the positive Presence of Mind. Like of course, Triumph will net you like 500 gold in the long run in like a very long game, but it's not like instant gold. So like the reward for Presence of Mind can actually be way bigger than Triumph, and it's not necessarily a crutch, right? But you can of course play with both, and there are positives and downsides to both of them, right? Like so you just have to weigh that, learn to know what you like appreciate the most. Like if you like to like play it safe and not really take any big risks or look for like any immediate all-ins, and you just like the long lanes and like you just feel like that's kind of like more what you tend to do, then go Presence of Mind. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, if you have Yuumi, you're free to take Triumph, like no matter what, then you're fine because Yuumi will give you mana, right? So it's not a crutch by any means. Like I will say that sometimes because I like to exaggerate and I'm like, well, just learn to play with Triumph. But there will always be games where Presence of Mind would have been better. Like in the long run here, like even if like I get 300 gold, 400 gold in the long run here from Triumph, like that is actually worth less than the 300 gold I would have got from Tristana. Because gold in the early game is worth a lot more than gold later in the game. Because there's like a natural inflation, right? Because every champion has 1,000 gold. If you have 1,300 gold, they have 1,000, you have 30% more gold in them, right? But if you have 2,000 gold and you have 300 gold more, then it's way less, right? So like the impact of like early game gold is way more valuable than later. So the immediate reward from Presence of Mind from like killing someone, which you wouldn't have done with Triumph, it's going to be greater, like in the long run. But I don't think you need it. You can, of course, do without, but there will always be like, no matter how well you play, there will always be like a game where you should have gone Presence of Mind, right? Like Rat will always go Presence of Mind. Like he will never go Triumph, like no matter what. He will always go Presence of Mind. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? I just like the dopamine playstyle, like going Triumph, whatever, right? So, but you can manage without. That's not the point. Like that's my only point here. But you are free to take Presence of Mind whenever you want. There is nothing wrong with that, right? And this is just one example of where Presence of Mind would have led to me killing the Shana in a lane that I actually not should have won. And we just see me sprinting out because I'm mildly infuriated. But I think this was a very good example. Like if I had my ultimate there, it would have led to like a lot more possibilities here. And I do think it's only like relevant on like the first recall. Like everything after that, I don't think it's so important anymore because then you're usually doing like shorter recalls. You're not staying that long in lane, right? Like obviously the first recall will most tend to be the longest one for the most part. So yeah. That is it. So it's not really a crutch by any means. The only point I think that is good to make is that you can play without it, but it will obviously have downsides sometimes. And yeah, hopefully that answers it. I hope you guys continue to have a good morning, night, like that. And yeah, take care. Peace.